How we doing? I think we are live. We're getting going. Let's make sure things are popping off. I think they are.
Live.
I think so.
I
All
like
right.
that for both of us. We don't know. We're just like,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
assuming.
sure we're live. You
Pretty
know,
sure we are too. That's all that matters. The thought of being live.
it's the thought of being live. Help, I'm alive.
Hey, Dad and Nader here. Let's do it. All right, so jumping right into it. We've had more releases coming out. What's up, Dylan? Meter and Dad are chilling too. We've had a couple more releases that have dropped. We got a new A spec that dropped today, which is a tool card that adds 100 HP to any Pokemon, which I think is going to help the single prize Gardevoir variant going forward in rotation. But it still is not even close to Primal Catcher. Primal Catcher is just the best card, and it's not even close still. So we have that.
Toast, baby.
But we still have we did find out rotation is happening, and that's happening right before EUIC, April 5th. And on top of that, we also did
Got a little bit of time.
we do have some time, so enjoy your Mew, enjoy your Battle VIP pass and Pass of the Peak for just a little bit longer.
Ioga.
Kyogre's gone. That's the one you're really feeling.
I'm gonna be so sad when that's gone. It's really
Bumming you out.
like a lot of bumming me out,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it's a really cool one for sure. We did get we had that new A spec. We had a couple other cards that dropped, which we did get kind of a Battle VIP Pass replacement in Buddy Poffin, which is really cool. But if you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you're heading over. Best place to find this is Poke Beach, and or I like to use Justin Basil. So putting a link in the chat.
I was gonna say
That's
you could drop the link in the chat.
and I think that is a awesome place to kind of catch up on some of these cards. Which let's go ahead and just pull them up. Let's do that. Bam. Wrong one. Getting there. Sorry, gents. All right, so
Early.
as far as we did get a stage 2 Jirachi Manaphy kind of combo, so all in the same one, but stage 1. So you can play Rabska. You got to play the Reller, which is the dung beetle, and then turns into a dung beetle that is got a Vanillux in its poop, or I don't know, but it looks like it's channeling and asking for you to give its energy for a Spirit Bomb attack in the Rabska, but basically is Jirachi and Manaphy all combined in one. Solid, decent. It's a decent card, but nothing too crazy. We talked about most of these other ones, but I'm gonna touch base on my Raging Bolt deck idea, but I'll do that later. The Dunsparce is a new one. Being able to draw 3 cards, but then you shuffle that card into your deck, so it's a decent draw engine and has potential if you can kind of find ways to recur it and set up multiple Dunsparce. It could be a very strong draw engine. To yeah, Scott.
I like the new Sableye.
The new Sableye is actually pretty decent.
I feel like that's something I could definitely see somebody building. Maybe not in whatever tier 1 S tier deck around, but like
Spread
I
decks.
could see that being one of those weird, kind of like the Alakazam deck is now,
Mm-hmm.
or the decks that are running it. But I could see it being done
Yeah, but at
better.
the end of your turn, you can like really put them into the right places to draw the cards that you want. So I like that. I think it has some seriously cool potential. Yeah, at least it's not as menacing as the other Sableye that we've been dealing with. Lost
I
Mine
don't know what
is
you're talking about. I think it's fine.
Lost Mine is just so terrifying.
So good.
Yeah, the Buddy Poffin is something that we should definitely chat about because this is a card that essentially is. I think that this is Creatures Inc. So Pokemon's way of saying it's like, okay, cool. Battle VIP Pass was something that we did, and we realized looking back, maybe not our best, but it did have a restriction, so it did make it, viable, but it did have that restriction, then led to games being swingy on when you do draw Battle VIP Pass, and then games when you don't, and it feels so polarizing, and that's not always the most fun. But with a card like this, where it only grabs basics being a key as well, that are 70 HP or less, this is directed at your stage 2 decks. Even your solid stage 1s like Goldengo is going to love this. Chen Pao, Guardy, Lost Box is like cool. We were pretty much just grabbing Comfies anyways, but you just can't
Yep.
grab your Ninja or your Cramorant, but you save Nest Ball for those. You save your other search cards. Artisan can still go grab a Cram. Can't grab our boy Brad, but it's all good. So essentially what I'm seeing here with Buddy Poffin is this is a way of saying that there are a lot of big basics. A lot of these Miraidon, Raging Bolt, the Walking Wake, Gouging Fire. Like we have a lot of really good basics, EX basics that are huge and big basics and
Mm-hmm.
take two prizes. But this is saying, hey, we still want to see our Charizards of the world. We still want to see the Baxcaliburs getting set up. We still want to see Gardevoir being able to play Curlia and have a solid engine. And it not being restricted to anything I think is great. I think Buddy Poffin is a card that I already have thought about as going down to 3, as like doing 3 of this and maybe going up a 4th Ultra Ball, or instead of the Ultra Ball going an Artisan to help in my early game setup. I think I would lean towards the Ultra Ball if I'm thinking just in a Chen Pao list or in like a Garchomp list. I think I would rather go to the 4th Ultra Ball. Instead, and that using that space that's opened up by going from 4 VIP pass to 3 Poffin, is that this kind of works in that regard. So super
I'm gonna
solid card.
build a. I'm gonna build an Iono Tinkaton deck.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of hand disruption. You can never play what you want to play. That's gonna be the whole deck.
yep,
It
love it.
won't have a win condition either. It'll just be multiple turns of making you angry.
Judge Ionos everywhere.
Judge, Iono, the Tinkaton makes your opponent discard a random card from their hand.
Yeah, we did
I
it,
don't remember who else has discard cards. Give me more like discard slash
dude. You
hand
need
disruption.
Arbok EX. Go look that one up. You'll like that
Okay.
one. It's from 151. We did get Mist Energy, which I think kind of helps Lugia, even though it's losing Burnett, but it can no longer uh, can't be if you attach a Mist Energy at you can no longer be Frenzied Gouging by a Roaring Moon if you have a Mist Energy. So that is a techable option for something like Lugia, and does have some okay play. But as for the new cards, that's pretty much it. You see the Arbok cards? Pretty solid, right?
I did. I just looked at it. Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. It's there.
You could put something together with that would
Yeah,
be really annoying to play against.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, as as we talked about last week, we talked about having a deck, but I think I'm taking this week, and Zach is going to prep one for us for next week. Um, so here's my deck idea. It's Garchomp Shell, making use of Raging Bolt as your additional attacker while also still using Lucario. With that being said, I want a one of Iron Hands in this build. So if we take a look at Raging Bolt, it's a great starting Pokemon, being that you can you can discard your hand, which will fuel for Garchomp plays and draw 6 cards. So if you find on turn going second, you can use this as a pseudo supporter to finish up your turn. Super solid. But when we accelerate a bunch of energy to the board, we only need 4 energy on the board to take KOs, and we just discard those. But then again, we use this to come up, take an attack, hopefully, maybe attach an energy to retreat it if we're removing energy from elsewhere, which is why I still like Lucario being able to pull energy from the deck. And I still love Garchomp as a way to accelerate the energy, so you can free retreat into your Raging Bolt, have a bunch of energy set up, and KO anything in front of you. Now I want to run a one of Thornton and a one of Iron Hands, so that need be you load 3 fighting energy into a Pokemon. Maybe that's a Lucario, and you find ways through your Ultra Balls. Maybe you play some superior energy retrievals and find ways to then get your Iron Hands into the discard. You Thornton it back up, attach a Lightning Energy. There you go. You're able to amp you very much and KO the one prizer that's in front of you. So that would be one way I would tech this. I think that the build would play very similarly to the Garchomp list that I have currently been running, which I'll pull up right now. Um, as far as Pokemon go, you go down to a 2-2 line here. I probably think I would keep the 3-3 line, but I could see that it being a 2-2 line. You cut the Mew EX for the Iron Hands. I do think Radiant Greninjas still play. I like the 2-2-bit barrel. We could drop a boss. We could drop an Irida in finding ways to help us set up. I would probably add. I don't know if I would want Buddy Poffin in this deck. Maybe a 2 of, because grabbing Riolu, Gibble, Bidoof still feels fine. Um, I would
Interesting.
I would probably do a look to do like maybe one energy retrieval or something along those lines to figure this out. But this is where I currently have this build going. I would probably run 2. I think it only needs 2 lightning energy, but it definitely shouldn't be 1. I think it should be 2, and I think it can really be awesome. So I would maybe increase the earthen vessel count. I definitely want switches, but I think primal catcher also functions in why we would be able to cut back on the boss as well. Um, and yeah, I feel like we want as many ways to pitch cards. We want as many, and that's why I think a superior energy retrieval could be nice, but maybe it's just the 4 Ultra Balls. I think it's sick. I think it's sick. I think the deck can work because then it can attack. It can do great damage with Garchomp, 160, which accelerates, which is like your setup in setting up these plays, and then you can find ways to pivot and make use of Thornton, which I really, really love what this card can do. Oh, it's only basic, so it doesn't work with Lucario. Interesting. Maybe it's Sandy Shocks then. So
Which card?
Sandy Shocks EX.
Well, which one were you saying didn't work with Lucario? Sorry, I was reading
Thornton.
another card at the same time.
Thornton because it's
Gotcha.
basics. So maybe you play
I
Sandy
think
Shocks instead.
I think you mix up. You go heavier into Garchomp and you pull in some of the pieces of Miraidon and use Garchomp and
Could do that too.
Garchomp, Iron Hands, and the Raging Bolt as
But
your KO potential.
but
Then you
Miraidon would only be able to grab the electric Pokemon, which would only be Iron Hands. So I'd rather play like Raikou
Miraidon
V.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah. I wouldn't even play Miraidon. I don't think.
I would play.
I'm
I
just
could
saying
play
taking more
Raikou
pieces
V,
from. I'm
right?
just saying take more pieces from Miraidon for the. I was gonna say mana for the energy acceleration.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hydro's allowing you to attach a bunch of energy. You run
Yeah.
like part of the Flaffy engine to attach a bunch of energy. You've got the
Flaffy's
Thornton
gone.
Oh,
Flaffy Row
Flaffy's
too.
gone.
Yeah.
What
So
else can you use to like accelerate energy that's
well,
still
that's why I was thinking Lucario, and Sandy Shocks also plays well because Lucario's pulling him from the deck. So the idea of doing Lucario into Iron Hands goes away, but you could still do Sandy Shocks into that, which Sandy Shocks is when your opponent has 4 or
okay.
less prizes, you can attach a basic fighting energy from your discard pile to this
Gotcha.
Pokemon. So that would be one way. You could also one way I was one way that I will tinker with is we think about ways to make this work um, because this is an ancient Pokemon, Sada's Vitality becomes very strong in this.
Mm.
Professor Sada's Vitality comes very strong in this, so that's why I almost want to cut back on it, like play like a single Iono, probably one boss, one Prime Catcher, one Counter Catcher. Feels pretty good there. You play three of Irida, three of Sada, or two of Irida, two of Sada, maybe a Pal Pad or something, just to kind of function it and make it work. I am wanting to be overly greedy and find a way to slot in. So go two water, two electric, and then the rest fighting to be able to have Brad plays. Because you're
Just to
gonna
sneak it in there.
just to sneak it in there. It's like because like thinking about and like
I mean,
draw
it doesn't
draw.
hurt. You're still gonna be able to use it to the Raging Bolt, right?
Yeah, and like
Like,
it's any basic energy for Raging Bolt. So
yeah.
even if you end up like manually attaching some energy to Brad, it's not
Wait a
like
minute.
Raging Bolt can get it done.
What? Okay.
Uh,
What is being lost from Chen Pao?
at the moment in my current list, I'll pull it up so I can give you word for word on the cards that I will
Yeah.
not be able to play anymore, which are uh, Chow. Uh, Currently, VIP Pass gone, and Escape Rope is gone. That's it.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
that's where I function as this is like boom. There's the three VIP pass become or three of the VIP passes become uh, Buddy Poffins.
Yep.
Uh, I want to work in a canceling clone, which is something I've talked about, and I probably leave the list pretty dang close outside of slotting in a primal catcher as well. And maybe that is in place of the escape rope because it functions similarly to an escape rope, but there are some times where I just want to be able to retreat. Now, there are Chen Pao builds that are currently not playing any switch cards because they're just manually retreating, which makes you susceptible to Snorlax stall. So that's just a small part of it.
Gotcha.
But Primal Catcher is pretty sick, and
Wait, how is so?
go
How
ahead.
is Thornton not being played right now? But like, is Thornton new?
No,
Thornton's not new, right?
Thornton
I
is,
feel like the potential for this card to be played is so high.
dude. I really think we need a whole episode where we just talk about our love for Thornton and why
It's
he's so
so
good.
good.
It's nuts,
It's
dude.
so good. Like, how have I not seen this card before?
Dude, I
I
there's
I
the
now have a direction.
you need dude you need to pick up on the new Roaring Moon build that plays Roaring Moon, Iron Hands, Greninja as your main attack as your attackers, and it uses your boy
Okay.
Thornton, and it's actually pretty sick. It's like
I just
it's kind of Lost Box esque, but it's more in the it's more an aggro like
gotcha.
we'll call it aggro pile. It's very much aggro sync, if you will.
Got you.
So
I
pretty
like that. I like that.
yeah.
Thornton just seems like such a strong card, especially if you can especially if the list you're running utilizes Pokemon that aren't easily knocked out in one turn, where
Mm-hmm.
like your opponent's gonna have to work to get either like take a while to set up a full on knockout because your HP is high, or that they just don't have that kind of knockout potential, so they'll be doing damage. Because then you're just like, okay, like I swap my damaged one out for a non-damaged one.
Yeah.
I swap, or like I set up this card and then I swap it out for Iron Hands and get a knockout and get more prizes, or like
Well,
whatever. There's so many
I
swap out options.
I like the idea of trying to include Thornton into like a Chen Pao deck as you uh, setting up like you go into Iron Hands if you know that it's not going to be KO'd the next turn, but they put a two prizer that you can't KO, and you go to Chen Pao in the discard, Thornton it back up, and your Chen Pao then Shivery Chills. It has three water energy already attached to it. You Shivery Chill. If there's two more in the deck, that's five water energy. Yeah, it has a useless electric energy or lightning energy attached to it. At that point, I don't care. I'm still hitting.
Yeah,
I still can hit potentially 300 damage with the or the five energy that I put in for 60 apiece. Now we're cooking. I I am. I said it in the Elite Four Trainer Academy Discord as well. Thornton is a card that I want to be way more on my radar, more and more and more, which makes me,
I feel like
want to open up an extra slot to have Pokegear and have and or
yep.
Pal and a Pal Pad, so where I can.
Palpad, Pokegear, Pokestop feel like those plus Thornton just become this engine.
Mm-hmm. Cycle them back in,
Whoa,
find the supporter.
this sounds so good. What?
Dude, so and then I think back to the Cryptomaniacs deciphering as well of
Uh huh.
how that's starting to function. So, okay, I'm going on a tangent, which we love to do
Oh,
here.
I'm so
We love
excited about
to
this tangent right now, though.
which we love to do. Cryptomaniacs deciphering works in so many ways. Works in Goldango. I didn't think about this until I saw a little clip where it works in the Magnazone, what's his name, Dialga deck, where guaranteeing that you put two metal energy on top, use Magnazone, you're guaranteed putting at least two energy every time you use Cryptomaniac's Deciphering. It's pretty solid. That you're guaranteeing Magnazone hitting two is nuts. Same thing kind of works with Electric Generator in
Yep.
Cryptomaniac's Deciphering. Guaranteeing you go Cryptomaniac, guaranteed two hits off of that. Cryptomaniacs is going to help Miraidon. Cards like this, I think, can really function in this way. And it's like you can set this up to where you're able to get, if you can draw into them, you're able to set up for the Thornton, and you're able to set up the Pokestop plays that we're talking about. Like, I need to
Yeah.
hit this Pal Pad, but I have Cryptomaniacs. But cool, Pokestop, Cryptomaniacs deciphering, put the Pal Pad on top where I need to have this for my next turn. I need to put the boss and the Thornton back in, or whatever back in. Awesome. I also, you've played the card, but I haven't played much with it. Silene also
Yeah.
is on the up. Like Thornton, Silene, I feel like these supporters that haven't been used as much, especially only in niche cases, Silene allows you to essentially play your ace specs multiple times. It's the only card out there right now outside of like Darkrai V
Yeah.
Star that allows for that. But our
Uh,
boy Thornton, I think, is really cooking.
Thornton plus Explorer's Guidance makes me want to make weird stuff happen.
Totally.
Like, look at the top six, put two into your hand, and discard the others. Okay.
I will.
Like,
I'll discard my Iron Hands
I'll,
to Thornton it
I'll
back later.
happily. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many options of like weird recursion. God, what does Thornton remind me of? It's an MTG card that I can't think of. Yeah, there's just so many options that like.
This
God,
is
I want to build a ridiculous recursion deck now that has nothing to do with
you remember what
winning.
you remember what you were talking about, like looking for this discard strategy and
It's
thinking about
here.
that. It's there. We just have to find ways to kind of abuse it and break it. And I
This is
think,
my
have you
my
seen?
struggle is
Oh
I
man,
don't know cards like Thornton exist.
yeah, we need to. Let's see. There's
I can
a
only read through every single valid trainer so many times and retain the knowledge of which ones I've read about.
So this is a dope single prize Pokemon. Hisuian Basque Legion as well is something that I've considered in the Chen Pao list, just because not only does it makes use of the discard pile and the energy you have in it, but I think this works better in a Goldango list since you end up with more energy in the discard pile and you're only playing 9 currently. So this doesn't hit
Wait,
too hard
wait. What? Does 20 damage for each basic energy
in your
card
discard
in
pile.
your discard pile, then shuffle those cards into your deck?
Yeah, but it does it for free, which is a
I
sweet.
want to play this card. How? Okay.
And this is, have you seen Gather the Crew as well?
No.
So
No.
what it evolves from is Hisuian Basculin, which helps set up your board for free in attack. Put two basics and grab two basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. It's Battle VIP Pass. But you're setting this up. So going second Hisuian Basculin is awesome. So this is something I've considered as a way until Buddy Poffin was printed of this might be good, and then this would be like you play one of the Basque Legion to have like a late game attack, which if you have all the energy in the discard, this
Man,
kills
I
this kills
wanna.
Billy. This kills or KOs Billy, KOs Luminion, KOs Mew, KOs Mew EX. Like it does a lot. So I am There are a lot of
I want to
cards
build
that,
a Basculin deck so bad now.
yeah, finding every way to put energy into the discard, like,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
just thinking like, so the two Basculin cards, whatever, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce them, uh, that you've mentioned here,
Mm-hmm.
plus cards like Cryptomaniac's Deciphering, Explorer's Guidance, oh, what was the other one that I just had
Radiant,
in my head?
our
Like
boy Brad, it fits
our
into a
boy
lot of these.
Brad,
Yeah,
like
Cur-
there's so many
the
great
engine can
ways.
also work in this too,
Yeah,
because you're
I feel like there's
discarding
so
cards
many
too.
ways to just run like a 15 energy deck where you just don't care. You just run a ton of pitches
Yeah.
for card draw and Pokemon draw and what have you. And just like, cool, I spend the whole game just like purposefully pitching stuff
Mm-hmm.
and then
Hitting hard.
hitting
Hitting.
like a truck.
Yeah. Where you can, so like, you play Letter of Encouragement, you play earthen vessels to
Yep.
pull the energies out, and then you play 4 of Ultra Balls to be able to pitch those. You can even play superior energy retrievals just to pitch more energy to get an energy back to make sure you're like, if you ever need to attach for certain cards. Like, there's a strong way to like play this, and
Plus, then you get to actually swing with Brad if you're running like predominantly or all water energy as well with this.
mm-hmm.
This seems so
It seems fun.
silly.
It seems really
This
fun.
seems so silly.
And I fall back on the like it like you were talking about with the Explorer's Guidance, like it's super good. Like, cool. 6 energy, like you rip 6 energy, like 3 or 4 energy off of this, and you just put it in there. Now your Basket Legion's hitting harder. It's like it's very much there, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I think again, this is it's got me cooking. Is like, how do we make use of cards like Thornton to be able to attack from multiple angles, to where you're not only setting checkmate from what might be in your hand, you're able, and or on your bench, you're setting checkmate through your discard pile, which at the current status cannot be messed with. Nobody has a way to interact with your discard pile, to
Yeah.
removing cards from your discard pile. Now, if we found ways to break the game to where you could interact with your discard pile, that would be different. Like, essentially, like, I choose 3 cards from your discard pile to shuffle back into your deck. Then I get rid of that Iron Hands and everything. But that would be a waste of a supporter, or like not a very good item card to play, because you don't always want that. It's like the opposite. It'd be Super Duper Rod, where you shuffle 3 cards from their discard into their deck, and yeah, that slows down some decks, but just doesn't do much for others. So I'm
I
in the tank on a lot of these cards and trying to make them work. And I think Thornton is the one that I want to break the most, and I'd love it.
I immediately agree. I mean, like just reading the card and thinking, like, my first thought goes to like, why not run a like a 1 of or 2 of Thornton in Chen Pao and be able to like be like, gotcha. Just kidding. Actually, I'm playing Iron Hands and I'm gonna take 3 prizes and win the game this turn.
Yeah,
Like,
Def- it's
haha, I didn't see that coming, did you? Nobody runs this. Like, I don't know what the rest of the tech to make that work is, but
it feels it feels tough, because like Tenpow I think is a tough list to make it work always, because you're removing the energies, right, often.
yeah,
But it does work in the way of, cool, knowing that, all right, I can probably go down a Chen Pao to 2 to put a Thornton in, knowing that whatever basic I push into the active late in the game, I could make it a Chen Pao at any point off of a Thornton could be great. And looking at, it works again. It works really well on these big basics, where I think Roaring Moon can make use of it, since it has some of the best. It's like
oh my
Thornton,
God.
Thornton plus Sadas and other ancient Pokemon, I think, are going to be nuts to play around
Eric,
with.
I'm gonna run Thornton.
Yeah.
I just thinking and looking at. I don't know how yet. I haven't figured this out yet. I'm looking. Sorry, I've got you here. I've got Pokemon here. I've got the camera here. My excitement is really high. I don't know what I'm gonna swap out yet. I'm gonna do some looking. I'm gonna see if I can squeeze it into the sink.
Dude, Thornton in the sink is sick.
Because I feel like you're already mixing and matching energy so often in the sink
Hmm.
because you have to, right?
Yeah.
Like you're only running whatever it is, like three dark, two lightning, two psychic, and three water. Like it's already like the most Mod Podge energy system you could possibly have, that you're sharing energy across what you're attacking with anyways.
Hmm.
So like if I set up, let's say, Roaring Moon with all three of my dark energy, and I can't KO something, but he can't KO my Roaring Moon back, and I can Thornton the next turn into Iron Hands or something from the discard, and get the KO or whatever. Like there's just so many. Or if I need to hold Thornton so that I can Thornton into Kyogre
Yeah.
later in the game to get my win off. To get it's like, hey, what are the cards that are in your library right now? Oh, it's just Kyogre, who I would have to try to get attached to, plus
Well,
the energy. Oh, Thornton wins me the game.
I feel
Like
like Thornton in sync feels really good because you,
everything's a basic.
yeah, and like, oh, you leave an Iron Hands in the active, and you would make sure to attach. What does Kyogre need? Does it need one water? Or is it two?
Two water.
So you just, yeah, like you make sure you have the second water or the Mirage Gate to go for it, and you're like, all right, cool. Iron Hands becomes Kyogre and now attacks the bench, which is kind of nutty. Like, yeah, I think it, you
There's
know,
so many ways that
it's
this
a one
works.
it's a one of, and
Agreed.
and you, I think it allows for you to not have to like hold on to your Kyogre and make sure it stays in the deck and doesn't end up in the discard, or like you have to super rod it back in to make sure you can get there. It's like, nope, it can live in the discard pile rent free until she's ready to come out. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't want to
and
say
your boy
often.
Thornton is gonna be the ticket.
I don't want to say often, but I will say that there is a non-zero amount of times where I am looking at Kyogre either in my hand or somewhere that isn't on the field and attached to already, and I've got something in the active that's got energy attached to it that I'm like, cool, I need to get Kyogre out, get him into the active, get three energy, two of which needs to be water attached to him. That's going to take like 7 cards usually, right? Like I've
Hmm.
got to get a Mirage Gate set up, then make sure I've got the Super Air Energy Retrieval or whatever, whichever one it is, Energy Recycler, sorry, to
What's up,
set up
Menace?
the play. Like there's so many steps where I'm like, okay, but I can just shorten that to 2 steps. Like it can just be Thornton Energy
Well,
Recycler.
and not even to mention, like, this allows for you to go for like Thornton Brad plays too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like you go, like, you can go multiple Greninja plays often. Like, and I think that's where I could see Thornton working into Chen Pao is like, often what happens is in Chen Pao, you go for Radiant Greninja, our boy Brad taking 2 prizes, which is sick, and then they're like, cool, but then they return KO it some way.
Hmm.
But then you're like, all right, cool. I've already flooded energy other places, but my best means of attack would be another Greninja play here to stifle your board and or kill some or KO some Comfies or some Curlias or something.
I've already put it in. It's great. I'm so
Yeah.
excited right now.
And then you're like, oh, well, push this into the active with 3 energy. Thornton.
Toward who? All right.
Yeah.
Deck guy over here.
Thornton's our guy, man.
Bro,
Thornton is our
Thornton might be my favorite
guy.
trainer or supporter or whatever as of right now. Like that's just
And he's got a pretty dope full art too. The man's checking his
yeah.
sketch. He knows what's up. Let's pull that up. Um, window
Nothing
capture.
like finding completely like random
I mean,
cards.
look at this dude. And he's around for a while, so he's not rotating. I think that there's going to be a lot of like how this card hasn't been broken sooner is wild to me. But
Same.
maybe it's because our lack of knowledge of the pool. But I do think with big basics and cards like Professor Sada's Vitality and Mirage Gate and Baxcaliburs staying in the format, so acceleration is viable, is really good. Now, that's going forward. I understand you're trying to make Thornton work in the sync now to do the Kyogre plays, which is also sick, and I'm super excited to see. Which I think I do have a Thornton, so if you want to try it out this weekend at the league, we can. Also, the Friday night Pokemon will be happening at TBS again, so I'll probably be heading. Actually, I need to ask if it's happening then. I'll look it up. But either way, I'll probably go to both to do some testing with Chempao. But yeah, so this I if the space allows for it, I want to try and make Thornton happen. And I think in doing so,
I'm trying to make Thornton happen.
but
Don't even go here.
It doesn't even go here. I just think it allows for people to not, once they know it's there, it still becomes incredibly difficult to tech around and play around, because if I go into Thornton, if I my play to win is Thornton something from the discard pile, how do you you can't play around that. You can't, because
Yeah.
you cannot interact with the discard pile. If I'm trying to set up checkmate or set up make it difficult for you by setting something up on my bench, boss's orders, prime catcher, counter catcher, cross switchers, which have been around. There are so many ways. Kyogre can attack the bench. Greninja can attack the bench. So many cards threaten the bench, and obviously the active is the most vulnerable card out there. But if I set up checkmate through my discard pile,
it's also so much harder to see.
Well, I guess the way you do that is like how you limit Thornton is take out their basics so where they can't swap a basic. But you just set
all
up.
I got is basics.
Yeah, if all you have is basics, it doesn't matter, right? So it's like I think it just works. It really is Menace. Menace is actually one of our founding members of the Elite Four Trainer Academy, so make sure you guys go give his channel a follow. He's awesome. He's putting out great content, and he's going to be a big part of the Discord, which you all should be a part of. Yeah, I want to make Thornton work.
I want Thornton to be a thing, like desperately now. It's become everything I want.
Well, I feel like for next week when you start digging in, and you might actually have the advantage on this whole deck tech, because between now and next week, I would assume we have some more cards. So hopefully one fits into
I'm gonna have some crazy Thornton
Brew
card, like force your opponent to discard, and also I swap things in, and you never know what's happening. If I don't know what's happening, then nobody knows what's happening. Kind of deck list.
I love it. I love it. Let me see if I can actually like look this up. I want to see if I can just like search discard. Let's see if this works. It does. It does. All right. So looking at Pokemon, let's see if that pops up. Yeah, that's going to show from the discard pile. It's going to be a big list. But essentially, I'm trying to find like what cards can discard from your discard from people's hands. Maybe that's a harder search.
Yeah, I've not been able to utilize the search function in a way that actually helps me build decks, which has always been part of my struggle. I'm like, why? Make this easier for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's not the easiest thing to implement as far as search materials, but this could definitely work. Yeah, I think looking at this, like, man, I want to find ways to, I don't know. I want to find ways to make cards work more and more. And one card that I think has been on my radar to try and include, but it's still so scary because Iron Hands is around, is like cards like Squawkabilly in the setting up, which maybe becomes less important and is, I mean, VIP Pass being gone means you can't reliably get Billy, so maybe Billy's stocks are lowering, and yeah, I don't know.
Stonks are tanking.
Yeah, but Thornton stocks are rising on our side.
Rising, aggressively rising.
Yeah, I'm I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where we can kind of push some of these options in these upcoming cards. Where again, I think Thornton is one of our more unique ones that hasn't found its proper shell, which I think it's not far off. It truly isn't. So
I have to agree.
yeah. What else do we got? What else is out there? Yeah, like Arbok is one of those that it's not being a basic is the only reason it might not work with Thornton, but could be great in that hand disruption deck you were talking
Yeah.
about, and like
I feel like those are the two themes I really want to go after, or I want to see made, which is hand
you
disruption
and
and
discard.
recursion.
Yeah, like basically you're playing dredge essentially.
Yeah. Like
You're
I think
playing
Dredge can.
control dredge.
I want Dredge to happen. They don't even need to be the same deck. They could be two separate decks.
Sure.
I want to see a Dredge deck and I want to see a hand disruption deck. It's just not quite the same as Mill, but like weird control.
Yeah, I think there's going to be plenty. Like you can play grabbers as well. Luxray. Let me see, Luxray. Luxray V is also super good. I don't know if you've seen this one. For a double colorless, your opponent reveals their hand, discard a trainer card from there, and does 30 damage. Well, it does 10 damage if it has a double colorless, but very strong
Gotcha.
V Pokemon that gets involved and gets in the fray and is I think pretty solid uh, as a disruption goes. It's like, oh, that Iono you wanted to play, pff, get it out. You know, it can be really strong. Or like going second, it is where Luxray can really function because you can get into that, play that, and it could work with other cards as well. I do think one card that I think that Energy Switch right now is up there with one of the best potential cards now that we're getting a lot more ancient Pokemon
Mm.
in the format. So it makes use of like Professor Sada's Vitality, obviously huge uptick, and going to be even stronger going forward in my eyes. Is that double energy acceleration from your discard is insane, and Sada's, in the past we've had cards like Melanie that but were water energy only and only to V Pokemon and then draw 3 cards. That's a lot of restriction. Where
Yeah.
Sada's is any 2 basic energy from the discard to any of your 2 ancient Pokemon. So with the introduction of Raging
Oh.
Bolt, Gouging Fire, Roaring Moon, Walking Wake, and then Flutter
Yep.
Mane. We even have some small basics that are getting added to the ancient Great Tusk, Sandy Shocks, all these I don't know, the Miraidon as well, or the Koraidon, not the Miraidon. All these cards that can play into the ancient like tag allows for you to kind of build this rainbowy deck. And then again, I think that this brings our boy Thornton back into the mix of being able to load energy in a bunch of places and then being able to Thornton swap one of these basics into something sick is just into something that's more threatening than originally we'll say like your Roaring Moon is right out the gate. You're like, well, Roaring Moon, it's already at 200 damage, but then I can swap it into an Iron Hand, so now it's taking 2 prizes, but it still kind of functions the same way. But it's like you can do so much with it, and I love that. And I think Sada's is why that a card like Energy Switch is going to see even more play.
Yeah.
Play Pokestop, hit your energy switches, attach your energies through Professor Sada, switch that energy around to where at any moment anything can be threatening. And then again, energy switch with Raging Bolt also feels really good. Being able to not only have to attach the energy, but you can essentially get a Raging Bolt powered up in one turn to at least do a 140 attack off of 2 energy, where you already have energy established to the board. You energy switch one of those energies to your Raging Bolt and then manually attach for turn. Bam, you're at least attacking for 140 for 2 energy, which is pretty on the nose. You have to discard it, but that's not terrible. Like it,
Could be worse.
I am like it feels like a lot of cards are gaining value going forward. And I think Thornton's one of them, Sada's, Energy Switch. I think Pokestop is Pokestop and Artisan, I think, are going to be the two big stadiums going forward. And I hope that we do see another big stadium come from Temple Forces, because we really haven't had a great stadium in a while that's changed. That I think has done anything like what Path of the Peak has done or anything like that. They've all just been like solid supplemental cards where something that would be like an ancient stadium and a future stadium could be sick.
I feel like it's coming.
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Like it's got to be, right? Like
Yeah.
it has to be. What else would be on the way?
Who knows? Who knows? I'm just I'm super pumped to see yeah, where it can go. Well, now I got your brain brewing. I feel like I am so excited to see where the Thornton Maniac can come out, and yeah, and
It's
plus
definitely it's whirring up here.
it's so good. Yeah, dude. So this upcoming week, let me pull it up actually. I'm gonna try and guilt Zach into coming to hang out and play Pokemon with me at a league challenge this Saturday. Friday night is happening, so I'll probably go over there on Friday, and so Friday night and Saturday for the league challenge. Going to be grinding POW every chance I can, just getting as much games as I can against as many decks as I can to feel really good about it. But if you do think of, between now and then, think of some brews that you want to change to the sync. I have a Thornton, I have Raikou, I have Forest Seal Stone, I have the cards that you need to make the adjustments to the sync if you want.
I definitely think I'm gonna want to make the changes before doing anything, because I've been thoroughly enjoying the current list.
With the Raikou list, right? We went more away from Palkia. So your V-Star power is now through Force Seal Stone. Correct?
Yes.
And that I think that's really good. It's a lot more multi-dimensional. Now like we talked about how Palkia was functioning as the fifth Mirage Gate. It's fine. You just play a little bit smarter, and having Raikou as an early attacker, which is very efficient and draws cards, is hard to pass up sometimes. So
agreed.
Yeah, that's awesome. But then this will be my last like kind of stuff before I go to Charlotte. I'll be leaving the following Friday for Charlotte, and I think the list I have is what I'm probably going to run since I know it the most, but there's a part of me that wants to find a slot for canceling Cologne, but I think it comes at the cost of Baxcalibur or Chen Pao currently, and I don't think I can offer any of those up. I probably could go down to 2 Chen Pao, but it's just sometimes I don't like cutting basic Pokemon right now because the amount the deck it's currently mulliganing. It's like it's just such a brutal way to even play the game. So it might just be a Cologne list list until rotation. But if I want to play Iron Hands, that is, I could definitely cut it and go to the old build that played cross switchers, canceling clones, and plays that way. But I just don't think it's there at the moment. So, yeah. All right. Well, we can call that a dub for the week. We're gonna play some Pokemon this weekend. We can't wait to tell you all about it next week. Make sure you guys join the Elite Four Trainer Academy. SNP this Saturday. I'll be there.
You will?
Yeah, we got 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. And on top of that, I got Charlotte coming. We'll probably be looking to stream here soon as well. I know. Make sure you guys go be a part of the Elite Four Trainer Academy. Number 1. 2. Follow Rainbow Smog. Follow Pokemon Menace. Follow Poke Oakley if you're already here. Check those out. We are going to be collaborating on a lot more content and streaming, so some of our testing and everything will be great. I hope that we will be able to do some webcam temporal forces stuff leading up to rotation, so we can do some future ideas. As the Thornton brews come to your brain for the future sets. And I feel like what I would love to do is maybe for one of the tech talks we have coming up, maybe we don't. What happened to the formatting there? Wow. We take the decks that we are brewing up and run them straight up as they go. So could be fun. Could be fun.
I'm
like
on board.
You get your Thornton dredge build going, and I play the Garchomp Raging Bolt build, which that's honestly where I think Garchomp will go. I think I do think that it still functions with the Lucario because you want Lucario as your single prize attacker, but I am so trying to be as greedy as possible with Energy Switch, Water Energy along with the Lightning Energy to do the shenanigans with Greninja, our boy Brad.
For sure.
A Brad play is my favorite play, and it's not even close. Moonlight Shuriken is without a doubt my favorite attack in this game. So
I might be about to win a game with Thornton.
Let's go, dude! Already working on it.
Legitimately might be about to win a game with Thornton.
I love it. I love it.
I have to see if the math works out here, but I think it does.
Share your screen. I can probably pull. I might be able to pull it up. Let me see if this works. I'm gonna mess everything up. It did.
Of course.
Let me see. How is it doing on this side?
The question is,
it's so off. Let's go back to.
Do I not have one more superior energy or energy recycler? What's in here? Is it in here? I hate everything. I can't get there because of the energy recycler.
No.
Oh, wait. And that was my super rod too? Alright, well, we just do this to see what's here. It's a Colress. Colress doesn't help us. Man, I just can't get the energy. This is so depressing.
Sad days.
We just lose. That's it.
They have 3 prizes though? Yeah. Cool. I love that you're already tinkering. This is so good.
I'm trying, but there's just nothing going here.
On that note, you can watch the bottom edge of Benson's game for just a little bit. We are going to... I'm going to stop watching this so I can... stop watching so I can pull you back. Oh, it's going to be messed up either way. But Benson's waving goodbye while he finishes that game up. We appreciate you all joining in for this Tech Talk. It was very, very fun. At the end of the day, Thornton's our guy. We're going to figure out how to break him. It's going to be fun. So thank you all for watching S&P this Saturday. Join it up, join the Discord, do all that stuff, and be